Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode, and it is going to be all about summer on the lake. Although we've had a terrible summer so far here in England, I'm sure as many of you are well aware, it has been very, very wet. But that has had some really good benefits for the lake this year. Last year, around this time, we're about 4 feet down in water level. This year we're pretty much at level with all this rain we've had. One of the other benefits too is a lot of the marginal aquatics have done really well this year. So I think we'll have a look at all those this video, where we planted them, what we've planted, what the species does within the ecosystem. We'll have a look at the peg that I've been working on. That thing has taken months and months to complete. It's been a bit of a nightmare, but we're almost finished on it. We'll have a look at the Willow wall and see how that's progressing over summer. And then towards the end of the video, I think we'll introduce a new kind of work plan concepts that we're working on this summer. For all the people who haven't liked and subscribed, don't forget to do that. It's really important for the channel. And thank you to all the people that have liked and subscribed. I think we're 2,500 subscribers now, so that's really good to see. I'm really happy with that growth. But yeah, let's get into the video and have a look at different things. Okay, so we're kind of finishing off the front of this peg here today. We wanted it super natural, with as much natural wood as we could get. Kind of realised that it's not the best and it is going to rot out, but we're kind of happy to replace it. But we wanted the natural feel to the place. So we harvest these logs from around the site, from dead trees or dying or diseased trees. We've got the posts in the front, and now we'll pin these logs to the posts. We'll send them back into the land and then level it all off, and then do a finished top on it. Yeah, it's almost ready. I'll show you what we've been up to in here. So obviously we got the log wall finished, backfilled a bit, stuck some drainage in, some clay pipe drainage. And then my beautiful, look how good this willow wall's going right now. It's just flying. And then here, we're gonna put some boards down on top of this, chop these posts off here, make a little bit of a slide coming in. And we are gonna put the sub base down here. And that arrives tomorrow. So it's been all hell to the leather to get this ready today. I've got to finish off the slide area, and then tomorrow I've got 12 ton of subfloor, sub-ballast. It's 20mm rocker crush getting delivered, and that is all going to have to come down in the tractor, bucket at a time, banged on the slide over there, and then spread about. Once we got that sub base in, put some topsoil on it, and then reseed it, and we'll have a nice little platform here. It'll look nice. I'm pretty happy with it. Stoked with the wall, the willow wall. Morning. So stone arrives today, but first things first, I got to bodge up a slide, which I've already done this morning. My lovely building skills over there. But yeah, that should work, I reckon. We'll tip it up on the tractor on there. It'll slide over the hedge here, and then yeah, start leveling out this. Little family of geese. Obviously a little bit older, these chicks. They managed to get 4 through, nested on the island. And these 2 down there, they only got 2. New arrival today is this Muscovy duck here. And he is being a right little pain in the butt. He's chasing the baby geese all over the pond. He wants it all to himself. Cheeky little guy. Hopefully they sort it out between themselves over the next little while. That's a pile of stone in. Now it's time to dig and rake. Just gotta do some leveling now. My back feels like it's about to drop off. You probably don't see with the camera, but it does need quite badly leveling, but yeah. So yeah, into the peg here that we've been working on. I guess we'll start with the willow wall. This was a couple of weeks ago, right up here, the willow. But the deer have come along and give it a good old grazing, which is something that we will be doing anyway, keeping on top of this wall until it thickens out. So the deer's kind of doing a job for me, but it does show us the level of browse that we get from the deer population around here. And they obviously really love willow, so maybe they've got a headache, for anyone what knows the traditional uses of willow. We've also noticed a lot of field mice making use of it. They're running in behind it. They're probably nesting behind the willow and the gaps there. So we've already got the species using it. The deer eating it, of course, that's deer doing what deer do. Field mice are starting to use it, and eventually as this grows out and up, I'm sure we'll get birds nesting in it. And yeah, really stoked with it, way better than a stone wall. And yeah, it's not only got a structural function, but it's also providing habitats, which is best of both worlds, really. And that's done. It's really nice, it's really big. It's taken a long time to complete, trying to find the time and the weekends to do a bit here and a bit there, but yeah, it's finally done. I think a big shout out goes to Lackey and Izzy. They work on the planting side of the business. Lackey's one of our foremen, and not only has he done an amazing job this year foreman planting the trees all up and down the country, but he pitched in, both of them, Lackey and Izzy, with this, trying to help finish off. So thank you to you guys. You guys are amazing. So one of the other things we're going to do today is my lovely partner Elizabeth surprised me with a present for the project, and she bought me an electric motor for the boat. We broke one of the oars a year ago, so I've only been using the boat with one oar and doing all the jobs on the lake, especially if it's windy. It's a bit of a pain. So we've finally got an upgrade to an electric engine. So we'll get that out of the box, we'll take a look at it, we'll attach it to the boat, and then once all that's up and running, fingers crossed it works, we'll boat across the lake and have a look at all the plants. Here it is, Bison electric outboard motor. Never used it before, never see, so we'll unbox it, we'll have a little look. Channel's not big enough that we get these things free like other channels, so by any chance, if Bisons are watching, if they want to send us any more stuff, we'd be more than happy. Get an honest review on this, I imagine. instruction manual, as any good man would say, is not required. Okay, so propeller assembly comes with, these are the parts it comes with. I love buying products that only come with these many parts. Okay, that was incredibly simple, but yeah, props on, 3 parts, took all of 2 minutes. Go and get the boat, we'll stick a battery on it, and then we'll see if it works. No more rowing. Okay, we're in action. Boat's working. It's a really simple process actually, the engine, so pretty happy with that. But yeah, we'll cruise around and have a look at the different plants now. Also, we have to name the boat. It feels like it needs a name now that it's got an engine. Yeah, and this bank here, it's all the Carex, all the dogwoods. There's a few irises here along the side. These are planted from a couple of years ago, these irises here. They've really struggled. These are the ones which were getting absolutely battered by the geese. But they're still there, so we're hoping that they'll carry on. You see the Carex riparia here. This is gonna get really big. It's Pendula via TCC. It's gonna weep over, and all this bank is going to be weeping over with Carex. It's an evergreen too, so it'll be there all winter. So it'll provide nice winter green cover as we go along in the seasons. And then we've got the yellow flag iris in front here, which hopefully slowly will start to thicken out into a reed bed with the Carex behind. This is this year's planting that we're planting at the moment. Again, just full of iris. There's a bit of cattails at the back, and we've got aquatic Memphora aquatica in there as well. Down at the bottom here, I don't know if you can see in the camera, you can see all the little mint here that's coming up. And then these are this year's planted irises behind us. And every year we're just kind of filling in these empty areas and filling it up. So we've got the island here. As you can see, when there's no predation, I'm browsing how well that's done. That's kind of how we wanted all the sides of the lakes to be looking right now. But it's wild in there. Here's purple loosestrife. This is one of key plants that we're trying to really get established around everywhere. One, because it looks incredible. 2, the pollinators love it. You know, we just came up to it and it was full of bees there. It does sucker every year and just kind of clump form. So we keep going, keep getting bigger. And we'll kind of come into the island here and get rid of this thistle and the dot in the next few weeks before it drops its seeds, just to kind of create space for this to kind of cluster out. But yeah, I do love it. What an absolute gorgeous plant. Yeah, and this is the first year planted iris, which for some reason managed to survive all the browse of the geese. And it's really thickened out and created this little mini reed bed here. And you see inside it all the gaps and crevices. This is where all the invertebrates, all the little fry are getting in there. Creates amazing habitats, great sanctuary for everything to hide in amongst the roots and the stems. Really important plant for the system. Again, just stripping out nutrients from the water, putting it into there. Helps with the balance of the lake and the algae blooms. And actually, I can see this right here, which is somewhat cool if I can be very gentle. Here, it's a dragonfly larva case. Dragonflies go through a process of molting the exoskeleton, and often you'll find these still attached to the location where they climbed out the water, hardened off their exoskeleton, molted, and then flew off as an adult dragonfly. So, you know, not only are these plants important for the nitrogen cycle of the lake and keeping that balance, but these are key sites for providing the perfect habitat for these guys to kind of molt and do their life cycle. It's very cool. We'll stick it back where we found it. I don't know if you can see, but up here is a little tunnel through all the vegetation onto the island, and this is where the geese and the swans have nested this year, away from all the foxes and the predators. They spent a little bit of time on there, a few months, and then eventually they came out off the island and brought their young onto the lake. We've also had the moorhens and the coots nesting on there. We haven't been on the island for a couple of months now, just to not disturb the birds, but yeah, we'll get on there soon. Now all the young is kind of adults, and we'll probably have a bit of a clear out for some of the weeds that we don't want. Yeah, so this side of the island, you can see the kind of diverse mix we've got here. Obviously, Juncus species, which just hardy as anything, that's everywhere around the pond. My old favourite. And then we got wild carrot, Queen's Anne's lace. Bristly ox tongue is the yellow one in the background there. We've got some St. John wort kicking around in there. Musk mallow is the pink up at the top. Knapweed around the sides here. The purple is the knapweed. Got some daisies in the back of there as well. Thistle dock. Yeah, it's really done what it was supposed to do on the island. We're really happy with it. It's humming with insects and life. Okay, so here we have the cattails, commonly referred to, Typha. A really important plant. We planted it in various sections, especially along the dam. It provides really good structural support for the bank stabilisation. These seed heads right here, in winter it'll turn into fluff and it'll all break up and float over the lake. They're pretty aggressive in their nature, so they will spread quite aggressively. So you have to be careful if you're planting them. If you do want them, they could go out quite deep and quite aggressively around your ponds and lakes. But yeah, they're coming out now. This is the second year these guys have been in, and you can see that it's starting to spread and get thicker and provide the habitat and stabilisation that we wanted. Okay. So here's the weed that we've got. It's Canadian, non-native, highly invasive. Didn't plant it, obviously. Came in naturally with the ducks, and then over the last couple of years has just gone bonkers. It started off as a tiny little patch that we tried to get out, and then within a year it had 60–70% coverage. There is a couple of pluses to it. I mean, as you can see, the water quality is crystal clear. And it is full of naturals. It's full of snails and bugs and insects. The dragonfly larvae love it. Long-term planning, we would like to replace this with something native. Perhaps edging along the road of curly pondweed. We have a friend's place, he has a lake, and he had Canadian, was out of control. He introduced the curly pondweed, and slowly over a number of years, the curly pondweed kind of outcompeted the Canadian. So the reality of it is we're probably like a mixed species of native weed in here. But the big problem is how do we get rid of this? I know that most people would recommend dyeing the lake. Not an option we really want to go down. So potentially getting the weed boat in, clearing it all out as much as we can get out, and at the same time introducing as much native weed as we can right after the weed boat, and hopefully we get a better balance and we knock the Canadian back. But yeah, it's one of the more serious problems within the lake. So this is the carex we planted this year, and you can see how it's struggling. And then down below is the carex that we planted last year. They looked the same last year. They were really struggling. They looked sad, but you can see the ones down on the water line. They're really greening up. They're shooting up the stems, the seed heads. And then in between it, we've got meadow sweet, and muskmallow, and willow herb, and juncus. You see behind me here how well this section of the bank's done this summer. Really starting to come along. You can't hear it, but these things are just full of bees right now, so all the pollinators are happy. It looks wonderful. And yeah, we're finally starting to see some results from the seeding. Yeah, again, another section of the bank with the muskmallow, the purple loosestrife, the knapweed. We've got some willow germination here, natural willows. We haven't planted that, that's just arrived. Some daisies in the background, willow herb, St. John's wort back there. Yeah, it's really coming alive, this section. In front of it is another of the areas that didn't do well with the aquatic marginals. So this is a section that we'll plant up this year. We'll keep filling in these little empty sections and pushing the aquatics out to the water. So we'll have a look at the dam wall section now. And this is something we've been really working hard on the last couple of years, more so to get this section solid and stabilised due to it being the dam wall. In winter, we have the northerlies which were coming in and eroding it, which actually worked out quite well. When we built it, it was quite a steep dam wall, which at the end of the build we weren't quite happy with. And I know a lot of comments mentioned the fact that you didn't provide enough shallow area on top of it. But with the erosion which has happened over the last couple of years and knocked the top of this dam wall backwards, we have created quite a nice 4 or 5 feet marginal shelf out before it drops down. And now this is all starting to colonise. We've got some of the more aggressive species on the dam wall, and then of course lots of the yellow flag iris, sedges, juncus. We'll have a look at the different species as we go down. Another one here which has suddenly made an appearance this year, greater birdfoot trefoil. Again, disappeared for the first 2 years, no sign of it once we seeded it, and into the third summer, and yeah, it's popped up. See our monk drain over here, we're down about a foot. At some point I do need to remove that support scaffolding pole. I'll probably just cut it off level. But you can see it's white all around the top of it. That has been a couple of cormorants which have stayed for the summer. So they shouldn't usually stay for the summer. They should overwinter in inland, and then in summertime they'll be out on the sea again eating the mackerel and the sardines. But we've got a pair of them which have stayed, which is not a bad thing really for us. They are helping control the roach population, so we'll leave them be for the time being and let them do their job. So the birch trees looked very, very sad last year. In fact, they didn't leaf out whatsoever. But we stuck with them. We kept on doing bark checks, which is just scraping the bark back and having a look if she's dry or wet, green running up the cambium layer. And she was still green even though she didn't leaf out. And then this year they leaf, so they made it, thankfully. So here we have our Gelder rose, planted in April last year, about 40 centimetres high. They're just starting to pop out this year. Got a few of them clustered together lakeside here, so this hopefully will come up, bush out and create a lovely big shrub on the side of the lake. You can see that the trees are all starting to do a lot better right now. This section of the land, we're cutting the wildflower meadow above us, but this section here is no cut, and you probably won't pick it up, but it is alive with crickets. It's just buzzing away on this summer's day right here. So we're at the shallower end of the lake now, and we've got our spindle bushes coming up. They don't really want to be in these tubes, but we're just trying to protect them from the deer a little bit. As soon as we sort the deer situation out, whether it be a fence or not, then we'll let these out and they'll kind of flop out and bush out. But we've got quite a few, 8 or 9 scattered right lakeside here. They should grow into a big spindle bush, and it's a gorgeous shrub. I don't know if you can see these little flower heads there, but yeah, they really are stunning. This is joint leaf rush in flower, which is such a pretty little flower on the top of it. Dark mahogany, purpley brown. It's so cool looking. It's not often you see them in flower. And then also, I've just seen on the burrweed, okay, so we're up the top where the ash tree was actually, where we kind of trimmed that up. We've got this area here that we've just started to clear back. It's at the top of the lake. I think one of the problems that I've been having on the lake is there's a lot of tools, maintenance, saws, cutters, boat stuff, engines that I require just to keep the management going up, nets. And I got nowhere to store it, and whenever I come here I have to lump it all down from the truck, especially from September onwards, just because it's too wet down here to drive. So we're going to put a tool shed up here, and it's going to be a log cabin tool shed, which we're going to build ourselves. Never built a log cabin before, so this may take 6 months, it might take 6 years. But we'll have a good go at it. It's going to be a pretty cool build. We'll film it all just like the lake. You can see us bodge our way through a log cabin. Logs arrive in the next week, and then probably realistically start the build in September, October. It's going to be a traditional log cabin, so logs sourced locally from one of the forestry operations around the corner. It's probably going to be chinked with old school clay and straw, potentially a natural roof. Not quite sure. We don't really know how it's going to go. We haven't really made any plans for it. We're just kind of going to grab the logs and start building and see what comes out the other side. So get ready for lots of log cabin build updates, because I'm sure that's going to take a while, considering that I wasn't very good at Lego as a kid. So we'll see how this goes.
For more information about our projects and to get involved, head over to www.creatingtomorrowsforest.co.uk.
If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below and subscribe to our channel.